Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of Fixing Toyotaro. It's your boy, Anthony.
And Seuss.
And we're here to...
Wait, what are we here to do?
Shit.
We're here because we had an idea. Admittedly, this came from Totally Not Mark's recent video.
Fixing Dragon Ball Super's battle work, the anatomy of anime.
Link in the description.
In the video, Sir Mark takes us through some rough key poses from the original run of Dragon Ball Super, and he and his buddies Anime AJ and Trev take turns fixing the shots based on the style of the animation director working at the time.
It's a great video, and if you haven't watched it, please go watch it and tell him TBD sent you.
And so that got us thinking, what if we took Toyotaro's Dragon Ball Super manga and did the exact same thing?
I already did that.
What do you mean he already did that? This is supposed to be an original idea.
He may have done a video talking about some of the issues with the manga, but he did not redraw it.
With this in mind, we took a look at one of Toyotaro's most used poses in the manga and decided to redraw all over the panels with a more interesting pose.
What do you mean we?
Me being the creative lead on this project, I chose the images and painstakingly decided on poses, which Seuss promptly ignored, but it's okay, we take those.
Without further ado, let's take a look at the first of these panels.
We start things off in chronological order with a page from Chapter 22, Zamasu's Last Resort from the Dragon Ball Super manga.
With this pose, we really wanted to make sure that we capture that true, smug feel of classic Vegeta, specifically from the Android Saga, where he had just obtained the Super Saiyan power and felt nothing could stop him.
At the beginning, we thought that we should go with something bombastic and flashy, but quickly realized that a simple power-up stance worked a lot better. I feel like it matches Jeets' personality anyway. You'll notice we played around with the angle of the camera a lot more than Toyotaro does generally, and there's a reason for that. Even if the same pose is used often, changing the shot angle can vary it just enough to break up boring compositions.
Just like some other artists you might know. And so, as you can see, we ended up deciding on something reminiscent of his original debut as a Super Saiyan, way back in the Android Saga. Honestly, we're pretty happy with how it turned out, so here's a comparison shot of both side by side.
You can really see the difference that even a slight change to perspective can really bring things together much nicer.
Up next, we have the introduction of Vegito, when he went up against Fuse Zamzam in Chapter 23 of Vegito is Born. Before we get into the logistics of why we chose this pose, let's talk about how much editing had to be done to the other panels. Because of the nature of changing poses that overlap other images, which most of these do, a lot of time had to be spent fixing literal missing artwork as opposed to the actual drawing.
Man, making me feel bad about my own skills in comparison to his own, much like how Toyotaro-chan feels about Toriyama-san. That being said, we decided on a top-down view for this one, intended to be more reminiscent of earlier Z artwork. This is something you don't see as often anymore with modern Dragon Ball. They focus a lot more on super close-ups and full body reveals so that you can see the designs rather than doing interesting compositions.
I felt pretty good about this one, so I only ended up drawing one draft for it. The same can't be said about this next one, in Chapter 44, Escape Prisoner Moro. Unfortunately, because of the paneling, I couldn't really do anything interesting with the pose. He ends the last panel standing straight up with both his feet planted firmly into the ground, like the plant he is.
Eggplant!
However, we still try to make it more dynamic by making it a smoother transition to the next panel. I know we keep referencing the Android and Cell sagas of the manga, but I am a sucker for that Vegeta. It just got a special place in my heart.
That's because he's fucking good! The pose here definitely tries to add more anticipation for Vegeta's lunge in the next panel, which I feel Toyotaro leaves out a lot in his storyboards. It honestly makes the artwork feel kind of flaccid at times, where the action just doesn't have the same impact that Toriyama's did in the height of Dragon Ball's renaissance. Once again, here's a side-by-side comparison. I can really see this Vegeta throwing one-liners at his opponents and nearly causing everyone to die again.
Pure, unadulterated, badass.
Alright, and now on to Chapter 57.
Battles abound.
And we're just gonna get rid of that face right there. Yeah, you don't need that there. Imperfect. This one had a lot of variations as well. Right off the bat, I'm really sad we had to axe this drab because we really love the angle and the face and everything.
But the point of the exercise wasn't to change the entire page layout and redraw other characters. We would have to figure out where Krillin would have to be placed since he has dialogue in that panel. All in all, we decided on going with a more true to form pose, just fixing up the lack of that authentic Dragon Ball feel, shortening up the torso, really widening Goku's frame, and giving him some mass. That boy's a beefcake for Hiffle's sake.
Kind of has a Frieza arc, early Android arc feel, huh?
Look at this man. Would you want to be decked by him? I think so. Me neither.
This really adds a sense of urgency to Goku. Like he's ready for this epic battle against Moro. He's truly prepared, similar to his entrance against the Ginyu Force and his first bout against Frieza. Really gives you that vibe, you know?
One last time, here's a side-by-side of each. Just look at them gains!
At the end of it all, we're really happy with how it all came out. Sincerest thanks to Totally Not Mark for the idea. Honestly, we'd really be down to do this again some other time. Maybe fix those awful side McFlurry-ass looking panels.
Now, this isn't to say that Toyotaro is a bad artist by any stretch of the imagination. He was instrumental during a time where there was no new Dragon Ball to speak of, with his fan work of Dragon Ball AF and eventually adding some much-needed explanations to many of the anime shortcomings, and adding some more interesting shit.
Anyways, tell us what you think. Did we do a good job? Did we overstep our bound? Probably. Leave a comment and let us know if we should do this again. Or, you know, we could just tell us to give up on our dreams. Throw them by the side of the curve. Like dead leaves in the wind. Like old...
Yes, well, please indeed leave your thoughts and criticisms down below. And subscribe. Until next time. Hey!
Making us feel like we ain't worth it. God damn it, Linda. Just like you told me to throw away all the amiibos. You know, you said they were just pieces of plastic. They said they wouldn't have value at the end of life. You know what? You're right, because you can't even trade them into GameStop anymore and get a $5 receipt for them anymore. Or, you know, you could just tell us to throw our dreams outside the curb like old spaghetti, you know? Just completely...
Damn it. Old spaghetti.
I don't know.
That's fucking beautiful.